Hello and welcome on the Mercury Vapor Glow channel. What I have for you today is this behemoth of a fixture. I mean, the wattage is not that of a behemoth if you think about it. It's the Polish OURW or OURW. This version has two 250 watt mercury vapor bulbs in it. And for comparison, these here are the single bulb models that you have already seen, or if not, check out my other videos. The bowls, these glass bowls, they are actually the same. This here. That means that this lamp compartment has to accommodate a lot more heat, and this was one of the greatest design flaws of this design. The two light bulbs are very close together, may even melt. This doesn't happen very often, but it has happened, or is reported at least. The fixture itself is a little longer than the other fixtures to accommodate two ballast chokes, choke coils and two capacitors. So first we have the two lamps in the E40 sockets here. These are both lamps that have already seen quite some life on the street, so they are pretty dim ones. Here the reflector is as good of quality as on the other fixtures. It's very shiny, even if this fixture is in really rough shape, I must say, and this reflector is still really good, and that's a very good thing about these fixtures. They are really, like, this one got abused. I think it was used on job sites or something like that. It was like, it had a really hard life for at least some time, and still really this is excellent. The same can be said for the bowl. The bowl still holds up really well and does its job like the first day. Probably it got out, is maybe a little bit dirtier and have some specks of paint or something, but it's really good. One thing, this fixture has this hinge is broken off, and I made a makeshift thingy out of like a little bit of sheet metal. That's not the best, but it works for now, and for us, for our demonstration, it's okay. So let me just put the camera down and close the fixture. I have really no good spot to put the camera down, but we will do that quickly so that we can admire the gear compartment of this fixture with two choke ballasts of 250 watts and two capacitors. So we have now closed. Let me show you how this latch works. You just put it in here and press down. This one has lost a little bit of its springiness. You can open it quite easily, but it will still hold really well because this pulls down, it sucks it in instead of pulling it out. So it will work. You can see the two bulbs inside. It's inside, you can see the refractors still work. Although this particular model was told to have a little less light than needed coming out straight ahead and a little too much coming out here from the side. This is because the bulbs are not perpendicular here, but they are like standing up or hanging down when it's mounted on a pole. Let's come to the gear compartment. It's also in really rough shape. You can see here on this one, you can still read what it says. Year of production here, 1979 in this case. So this one will be the same, but unfortunately we can't read it anymore. And we have the capacitors here under this cover, and they are also in pretty rough shape, but they are not leaking, they are working, so they stay. It's only original ones, as they say, and I stick to that most of the time, if I can. And last but not least, here we have the pole mounting brackets. You can mount it on a pole and tighten this for screws like all other OURWs. And the fixture is mounted on the pole. Here we also have the cover for the compartment. It's not held in by screws this time, but there is a hook that you can pull in, and it's even better than on the other OURWs where you have to have a screwdriver with you. And here you don't have to. So that's the features of this fixture. It's probably the heaviest fixture that I have. It's really, really heavy. It's like 25 kilograms or so. Let's turn off the light, go around and turn on the fixture so that we get our daily dose of the Mercury glow, I'd say. Let's do this. So both bulbs have struck and are on. The one on the left here has seen really, really many hours. It's like basically a trash bulb. Also it still works and fires up, but it's like critical. The other one is a little bit better. Still, yeah. It has a nice climate to it to fire up such a bulb, I think. Because this fixtures like many times would operate like this for many years, and mostly with only one bulb because of this overheating problem. And like this they would work for years and years before the bulb would burn out. So it's kind of how you would find it in the wild most of the time. Having it working with two bulbs these days is really seldom. Just take a little time to admire this nice refractors here. You can kind of see a little bit that it has two bulbs, but not really when you're directly under the fixture. But when you go to the side, of course, it gets pretty clear that it has two bulbs in it. And last but not least here, the glare reduction from the side also works kind of well, but not as well as in the single lamp versions, because these lamps stick out really far and almost touch the glass. So we can now see the fixture has warmed up a little bit, and it is quite bright when you stand next to it. But believe me, these fixtures were a lot brighter with new bulbs. A lot brighter. This one will still get a little bit more, but these were really bright fixtures when they had two new lamps that were not yet damaged from the heat from one another. These were pretty much beasts. These were really good Mercury fixtures. It would light up like huge places, city junctions and highway junctions and places where you need lots of light. In Poland they would even mount these on like poles with 10 of them in important places to get them lit up really good. So this is a fixture that can do a lot of light if you want it. Yeah, maybe I will turn on the light again for a short period so that we can compare the light output a little bit to this 125 watt Mercury vapor equivalent. I mean, it does pretty good, but only because these two bulbs are really high hour bulbs. They have lost more than half of their lumens already, and this is already, you can feel it's getting hotter. It's not hot yet, but it will get hot soon enough. So maybe I'll just get around the fixture a little bit, just because it's a really gorgeous design, I think. And I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you very much for watching, and see you on the next one.